Welcome everyone to this anchoring safety unit of my online course. Today we'll be looking at commercial and super yacht anchoring arrangements. We'll be discussing the safety of those anchoring arrangements and in particular looking at the risk assessment of anchoring. Let's remind ourselves what risk assessment is. Risk assessment is the ability to identify potential hazards with any operation and put in place the measures to reduce or eliminate the risk of those hazards occurring. So what we're going to try and do today is identify the risks and hazards that are associated with operating anchors of any type, and then talk about the things that we must do in order to mitigate those risks. It's always worth remembering that anchors form part of our hull survey items. Now this means that on a cargo vessel or on a super yacht they will be part of the cargo ship safety construction survey. Obviously on a passenger vessel they will be part of the passenger safety certificate survey, but worth bearing in mind that they will form part of the overall survey of the ship's hull, and therefore as a result will normally be classed by a classification society. Now, although the passenger ship safety certificate is issued by FLAG, items like the anchors forming part of the hull survey will still be classed by a classification society, and the FLAG state will, if you like, inspect the class certificate in order to issue the passenger ship safety certificate. When it comes to cargo vessels and when it comes to private yachts, then the classification society would normally issue the cargo ship safety construction certificate and therefore would normally survey the anchor and the anchoring equipment. Now, in this light, it's important to recognise what a classification society considers to be suitable anchoring arrangements. Classification societies state that suitable anchoring arrangements are anchor arrangements which are capable of holding the vessel on a very temporary basis in moderate conditions. Now, moderate conditions are considered to be force 6 or 7, or up to, should I say, force 6 or 7. Once we get to a gale, force 8 and above, then our anchors and associated equipment are not classed to be able to take the stresses involved with the ship riding at anchor in those kind of conditions. So therefore it is worth pointing out that particularly as the master of a vessel, if the forecast whilst you are at anchor is for the wind speed to get to force 8 and above, you can no longer rely on your anchors and their equipment to safely hold the vessel in position. Now, as a result, what this means is that if you do get a gale forecast, it's a good idea for the master to consider heaving up his anchor, putting to sea and hoving to, or if he can, perhaps going alongside and seeking shelter in the port or seeking shelter at an anchorage that's not exposed to gale force winds. So just to reiterate that anchors and their associated equipment form part of the hull survey. Hull surveys are generally done by classification societies, and a classification society classes an anchor to be able to hold a vessel in moderate conditions, so that's up to force 6 or 7, but on a very temporary basis.